Have you noticed how crazy the world has gotten lately? Every time you step into the grocery store, it feels like you're playing a game of Russian roulette. Will your favorite items be there or vanish overnight? We've got weather patterns going wild, shipping nightmares clogging our ports, and global tensions shaking supply chains to the core. Think I'm exaggerating? Listen up, because we're breaking down the top 9 essential groceries you won't find after March 2025 so you can stock up now before shelves go bare. 9. Cooking oils, olive, canola, and sunflower. If you're like me, cooking oil is a silent hero in your pantry. You barely think about it until it's gone. Well, here's the kicker. Olive oil prices have skyrocketed by nearly 40% in the last year alone, and it's getting worse. Why? Spain, the largest global producer, recently faced a catastrophic drought, slashing production by over 50%. Canola oil isn't safe either. Canada's prairie provinces, responsible for 70% of global canola exports, are battling extreme heat waves, cutting crop yields dramatically. Don't think sunflower oil can bail us out. Ukraine and Russia, which provide 80% of the world's sunflower oil, are entangled in conflict, leaving fields abandoned and harvests disrupted. According to grocery market analyst Jenna Simmons, it's not about if oil shortages will hit, it's about how severe they'll become. Customer reviews already flood online platforms with complaints about soaring prices and empty shelves. Long-term storage is challenging because oils degrade after a year, even unopened, but experts recommend buying now and rotating stock regularly. Consider alternatives like coconut or avocado oil, but beware. These are already spiking due to demand. Waiting is risky. Act today or face cooking dry tomorrow. 8. Rice and grains. Think rice shortages sound impossible. Think again. Rice, feeding more than half the planet, is facing a nightmare scenario. Asia's rice-producing powerhouses, India, Thailand, and Vietnam, have seen monsoon disruptions unlike anything in decades. Floods wiped out fields, and India, the largest rice exporter globally, restricted exports in 2024, cutting shipments by a staggering 25%. This led to panic buying in countries like the Philippines and China, pushing rice prices up by 30% practically overnight. The U.S. isn't immune either. California, a major domestic rice producer, saw production drop nearly 20% due to prolonged droughts. Even wheat and barley, our bread-making staples, aren't safe. Ukraine's once abundant grain harvest has been gutted by war, while drought scorches Canada and Australia's vast fields, dropping global grain stocks to record lows. Agricultural economist Dr. Samuel Chin warns, if these climate trends continue, grocery shelves won't just have fewer options, they'll go empty altogether. Shoppers already see the signs, with prices doubling in some stores. One customer lamented online recently, "I never imagined paying triple for rice." Stocking up now feels like an investment, not paranoia. Grains aren't just food, they're survival. Don't get caught unprepared when this staple disappears from shelves. 7. Eggs and poultry products. You've probably already felt the pinch buying eggs. Prices recently shot up nearly 60% thanks to a new wave of avian flu ravaging poultry farms across America. Over 60 million birds were culled just last year, leaving shelves emptier than ever. Poultry expert Dr. Alan Shepard explains, avian flu isn't a rare event anymore, it's becoming routine, and each outbreak sends shockwaves through the supply chain. But it's not just eggs. Chicken and turkey production have also nosedived due to rising feed costs. Remember the grain shortage we talked about? Labor shortages and stricter regulations squeezing poultry farms. Retail chains across the U.S. have already imposed buying limits, something consumers haven't seen in decades. Take customer Amy Thompson, a mother of 3 from Texas, who recently tweeted, "Went to buy eggs. Store limit 2 cartons per customer. Are we seriously rationing basic protein now?" Veterinarian Dr. Ethan Riley warns, poultry diseases spread fast and unpredictably. Another outbreak could cripple supplies even further. Stocking powdered eggs or frozen poultry now isn't extreme, it's essential. If your family's breakfast depends on eggs, now might be your last chance before they vanish for good. Don't wait for the sign on the grocery shelf to say, sold out. 6. Powdered milk and dairy products. Milk shortages, yes, milk, are creeping closer than you'd ever expect. Remember how easy it was to dismiss powdered milk as an outdated survival food? Well, get ready, because that shelf-stable dairy staple is about to become a hot commodity after March 2025. Global dairy production is facing threats that have experts sounding serious alarms. Dairy cows rely heavily on stable climates and abundant water supplies, and the volatile weather hitting farming states like Wisconsin, California, and Texas, America's dairy heartland, is putting serious pressure on production. Heat waves reduce milk yield dramatically. A single week of extreme heat can slash milk production by as much as 10%, according to agricultural scientist Dr. Bethany Garrison. Moreover, dairy farms are closing at record rates due to escalating feed costs, labor shortages, and stricter environmental regulations. The U.S. Department of Agriculture reported in late 2024 that nearly 8% of U.S. dairy farms shuttered operations last year alone, a frightening pace of decline. On store shelves, we've already seen prices climb steadily, causing panic buying of shelf-stable alternatives. Powdered milk specifically has seen unprecedented demand. Customer Julia Martinez shared online, powdered milk went from being an emergency backup to an everyday necessity, and now I can't find it anywhere. Stocking up on powdered milk right now could make all the difference when fresh dairy runs out. Here's the thing, powdered milk has an impressive shelf life, up to 5 years if properly stored in airtight, moisture-free conditions. It's rich in calcium, vitamin D, and protein, and easy to use when fresh milk becomes scarce or too costly. But once the broader public realizes the seriousness of the impending shortages, powdered milk will vanish overnight. If milk, yogurt, and cheese suddenly become unaffordable or unavailable, those prepared with a good stockpile of powdered milk will have peace of mind. Don't gamble on your family's nutrition. Act now while you still can. 5. Flour and wheat products. Have you noticed how bread, pasta, and flour prices seem to rise every time you walk into a store? It's not just your imagination. Flour, a pantry staple we've long taken for granted, is facing an unprecedented crisis, making it one of the essential groceries you might not find after March 2025. Let me paint this clearly for you. Wheat, the core ingredient in countless products, has become alarmingly scarce worldwide, and the domino effect is staggering. Major wheat exporting countries like Canada, Russia, Ukraine, and the U.S. have endured one disaster after another. In Canada, scorching heat waves in 2024 slashed wheat production by 40%, the worst decline in half a century. Australia isn't far behind. Severe drought conditions there have decimated harvests, leaving their wheat production down nearly 30%. On top of that, Russia, the world's largest wheat exporter, recently tightened export controls due to ongoing geopolitical tensions, severely limiting global supply. Grocery industry expert Elena Caruso warns, "We're one bad harvest away from seeing supermarket shelves empty completely, triggering panic buying worse than what we saw during the pandemic." Customers are already feeling it. One recent comment on Reddit sums up the frustration. "I bake bread weekly, but now I'm forced to pay double for flour, when I can even find it." The domino effect of shortages means bakery products, cereals, and even packaged snacks could rapidly disappear or become luxuries overnight. Here's what you need to know. Flour, if properly stored in airtight containers in cool, dark spaces, can last up to 2 years. Stockpiling flour now isn't paranoia. It's insurance against empty shelves and astronomical prices later. Remember, bread shortages aren't just about losing toast for breakfast, they're about losing affordable nutrition and comfort during uncertain times. Act smart. Grab extra flour bags now, because once panic sets in, shelves clear in days, not weeks. Number 4. Canned tuna and seafood. If you think canned tuna is a pantry afterthought, think again. Global fish stocks are rapidly declining, driving prices sky high and availability down. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, recently confirmed that tuna populations have plummeted by nearly 30% over just 2 years, due to warmer ocean temperatures disrupting migration patterns and causing smaller catches worldwide. Seafood production is also being hit hard by geopolitical tensions. For instance, trade disputes with Southeast Asian countries, major suppliers of canned tuna, have reduced imports significantly. Experts like marine biologist Dr. James Keller warn, ocean health is deteriorating quickly and our seafood supply chains are more fragile than ever. Customers are already feeling it. One recent online review complained, "Tuna prices doubled in my supermarket overnight. What's next?" And the truth is, further price hikes and shortages are inevitable, especially as climate-driven disruptions worsen. Stockpile now and ensure a good protein source remains available when fresh meat and poultry run dry. Store canned tuna in cool conditions and it'll easily last 5 years. If you love affordable protein, don't wait until your favorite brand disappears completely. Number 3. Fresh meat and beef products. You ever walk into your grocery store lately and wonder why meat prices keep climbing or shelves look emptier by the day? Let me tell you, things are about to get a whole lot worse by March 2025, especially for fresh beef and other meat products. This isn't fear-mongering. This is straight-up reality, backed by recent alarming data and industry insiders sounding the alarm louder than ever. In the last 2 years alone, cattle herd sizes in the U.S. dropped to their lowest levels since 1962, down nearly 3 million head due to relentless drought, soaring feed prices, and shrinking pasture land. Major cattle states like Texas, Kansas, and Oklahoma have faced punishing heat waves, leaving ranchers with no choice but to drastically thin their herds. Beef industry analyst Mark Anderson recently warned, "This decline isn't temporary, it's structural. Ranchers are losing money fast and rebuilding herds could take years, not months." But climate isn't the only threat. Supply chain disruptions, including rising transportation costs, trucking shortages, and delays at processing plants, add layers of complexity. Even international sources are shaky, with Brazil, one of America's largest beef importers, recently halting shipments due to cases of mad cow disease. Meat industry analyst Emma Roth states bluntly, "Beef shortages in 2025 won't just make steak a luxury, it could mean empty meat counters altogether." Customers are already frustrated. Social media is flooded with complaints like, "Beef doubled in price overnight. How can families afford this?" Fresh meat is essential protein, crucial for millions of American diets. So what's your move? Now is the time to stock your freezer strategically. Ground beef, chicken breasts, and other meats vacuum-sealed and properly frozen can last over a year. Consider canned meat, jerky, or even freeze-dried options. Protein isn't a luxury, it's survival. Don't wait for rationing signs to go up. The smart move is to act now, or you could face empty shelves and shocking sticker prices when this crisis fully hits. Number 2. Baby formula. This one's scary. If you're a parent, you remember the 2022 baby formula crisis vividly. Well, brace yourself, it could happen again, but worse. Ingredient shortages, contamination recalls, and supply chain disruptions are already tightening baby formula supplies again. FDA regulations and production slowdowns continue to limit manufacturing flexibility, leaving shelves shockingly vulnerable. Pediatric nutritionist Dr. Karen Matthews warns, another serious shortage by 2025 isn't just possible, it's highly likely. Online parenting forums are already buzzing. A worried mother recently wrote, "Formula is vanishing from shelves again. I'm terrified it'll be 2022 all over again." Don't risk your baby's nutrition. Stockpiling powdered formula now and rotating your supplies can give you crucial peace of mind. This isn't about fear, it's about making sure you're prepared when panic buying empties shelves overnight again. Your baby's health is too important to leave to chance. Number 1. Fresh eggs. Finally, eggs, America's most basic staple, are on shaky ground. Egg prices skyrocketed nearly 70% recently, largely due to devastating outbreaks of avian flu that wiped out more than 60 million birds across the U.S. Farms can't recover overnight, and with spring migrations bringing potential new outbreaks, experts like Dr. Rachel Stevens warn, expect severe shortages well into 2025. Customers nationwide report seeing empty shelves regularly. One frustrated shopper posted online, "Two-store limit on eggs this morning. This is madness." Eggs aren't just breakfast. They're protein powerhouses essential for nutrition. Stockpile powdered eggs as a backup now. These last years unopened and provide a critical nutrient source. Don't wait until eggs vanish completely.